So this is Donald Trump and the White House. They say, keep calm and tariff on. And that's after losing at the Supreme Court regarding his tariffs. They lost 6-3. So Donald Trump says, okay, fine, I'm going to tariff more, even though after I'm a big loser. It is my great honor to have just signed from the Oval Office a global 10% tariff on all countries, which will be effective almost immediately. Thank you for attention to this matter. And then Fox News, what they did today was interesting. They're tweeting out videos of animals. Neck and neck, a baby giraffe named Rahisi stares down an ostrich at the Memphis Zoo. Rahisi has met the neighbors, the zoo wrote on social media. And I was thinking about this, I guess in this analogy here, we're the giraffe or Trump's the giraffe and the other countries are the ostrich. This is the kind of stuff that we're looking at on a daily basis. And if you want to go the other way, maybe other countries are the giraffe and we're the ostrich, I'll let you guys be the judge of that one. But yes, that's what Fox News is putting out there. Trump then tweets out, based on a thorough and detailed, complete review of the ridiculous, poorly written, and extraordinarily anti-American decision on tariffs issued yesterday, after many months of contemplation by the United States Supreme Court, please let this statement serve to represent that I, as President of the United States of America, will be effective immediately, raising the 10% worldwide tariff on countries, many of which have been ripping the U.S. off for decades without retribution until I came along. To fully allowed and legally tested 50% level. Okay, great. During the next short number of months, the Trump administration will determine and issue the new and legally permissible tariffs, which will continue our extraordinarily success process of making America great again. Okay, greater than ever before. That's according to Trump. And according to this, it says Trump, raises tariffs, but I think this is temporary, 150 days. Okay, and they're trying to use the Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. Now, while all this trade thing's going on, there's going to be fight over this stuff also, right? This is temporary, and I'm sure there'll be yet more Trump tweets and probably more Fox News baby giraffes. You have Pete Hegseth then showing everyone, hey guys, I can bench press a lot, right? Department of Rapid Response Secretary of War checking in again. There's Hegseth. Wow, fantastic. You can bench a lot. and it's like and I'm not against health. I'm not against bench press. I just want to make sure I'm not against, athletics. But, the problem is like our world is literally South Park, They make fun of Hegseth running around with the camera and bench pressing. And it's like, that's what our government spends our time doing. And when you look at the headlines at the end of the day, while we're showing how much we can bench press, this is actually the real thing that you need to be focusing on is the money. Like, why doesn't life get better? Well, Trump aides struggle with how to spend $500 billion more on the military. Okay, instead of building schools or hospitals or our infrastructure, high-speed trains, any number of things that we could make life better for regular people or alternate power, so we don't have to worry about what's going on with the oil in the Middle East. No. Let's spend more money on the military. And it's like so much money, they don't even know what to do with all of this. This is seriously. I'll read it. President Trump last month agreed to roughly 50% funding boost sought by Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, in the White House annual budget proposal. The idea ran into internal criticism from several other officials, including White House budget chief Russell Vought, and that's one of the Project 2025 guys. And it's like he even warning that this will widen our deficit and also like, how can we even spend all of this money? Since Trump agreed to the higher number, White House aides and defense officials have run into logistical challenges surrounding where to put the money. Great. Because the amount is so large, the people said, the White House is more than 2 weeks behind its statutory deadline to send its budget proposal to Congress, in part because it is unclear how precisely to spend the additional $500 billion, according to the people familiar with the matter. And then here's where the key is. Part of the discussion centers on how much emphasis should be go into buying weapons the military already has, right, already uses, versus investing in high-end technologies such as artificial intelligence that the Pentagon envisions as part of its future. Basically, should we give all this money to people who have existing contracts and just build more stuff that we already have? Or should we give all the money to Elon Musk? Where do you think it's possibly going to go? The roughly $900 billion budget defense approved last year was the largest in U.S. history. And to give you guys an idea of how big the military budget is, this is a chart done by the Peterson Foundation. They track the money situation, which I always say same thing, follow the money. $900 billion, actually $916 billion defense budget here. And this is the rest of the world. I think it's like the next 9 countries combined. We spend more than the next 9 countries combined. It is really that ridiculous, right? This is, the USA, another chart of looking at percentage of GDP defense spending. So we spend a much higher percentage of our GDP than other countries. This is the defense spending compared to non-defense spending in the USA. So it makes up roughly half of the budget and discretionary. This is where the various money goes. You have procurement, you have salaries, right? Military personnel, operation, maintenance, other research and development, etc. Then this is why these sort of headlines become important to understanding the U.S. system. SpaceX is Elon Musk's company. Oh, well, they're having a contest to build Terminator robots, basically, right? Autonomous drone tech. I'd like to get some of that money. Oh, and it turns out the military's got a bunch of money that they don't even know what to do with because they got so much. Oh, great. And that is a budget proposal. It's going to have to go through Congress, et cetera. But as you know, Trump has a history of basically ignoring Congress, ignoring the courts, and these kind of things. This is what Trump's doing. And I want to point this out. In this world, every now and then I'll show you these Google searches because you can find anything right these days pretty easily. Did the military fail an audit? Yes. The Department of Defense, which manages the military, has failed its annual financial audit for the 8th consecutive year as of December 2025. Right, this just came out a couple months ago. So we don't even know where all the money goes that they have now, basically. We failed audits. We don't track all this stuff really that well, let alone adding, yet more money to this, basically a disaster. Just to be frank with you guys, I mean, it's obvious that what's going on. And then what they need to do to justify spending all this money in the military when we could be, again, doing it for other things. We're going to say, hey guys, let's start a war with Iran. Wow, fantastic, And I always say the same thing, like, do regular Americans walk around saying, I don't need schools, I don't need hospitals, I don't need transportation, I don't need, better infrastructure. You know what I really need is more wars, right? Do you think many Americans sit around thinking about that? And what Fox News does then, they just say, hey guys, look at the baby giraffe. Where's the baby giraffe? Wow, fantastic.
So as a result of that, we're now experiencing what I would call a stress test. And I've studied stress in different situations. I've lived through stress. And what I realize is that stress changes behavior. And one of the behaviors it changes is the ability to trust. As a result, I think our citizens and our allies are no longer trusting us. They're not asking, when will America return to normal? They are now asking, can American institutions ever be trusted again? That question haunts me every day when I wake up.
And that's actually the really the biggest problem with the Trump stuff is, right? And I show you the stupid crap that Trump says, and then it's obvious these people are, not serious. You guys can see it for yourself. And then any numbers that they ever put out, right, are often misleading, false, etc. And that just taints the whole system. And so, allies can't trust anything that the Trump people say. Local people can't trust anything that Trump people say. And then even like recently, for example, I was thinking about the when the ICE agents shot that guy in the leg, right? And then they lied about the story. And remember we talked about this? And then even the ICE and DOJ is like, yeah, we got agents that are liars. I mean, this is the situation that we're in. I want to point out, though, that not everyone in the USA is completely whacked out. We certainly have people who are very competent. And in fact, there's the lawyer who beat Trump at the Supreme Court. Listen to this.
I mean, I can tell you that I've been on the losing end of Supreme Court decisions, both as the government's top lawyer and in private practice or representing pro bono clients. I have deep respect for the court and always do, whether I win or lose. One of the great things about the American system is what just happened today. I mean, just think about it. I was able to go to court the son of immigrants, able to go to court and say on behalf of American small businesses, hey, this president is acting illegally. And I was able to present my case, have them ask really hard questions at me. It was a really intense oral argument. And at the end of it, they voted and we won. That is something so extraordinary about this country. The idea that we have a system that self-corrects, that allows us to say, you might be the most powerful man in the world, but you still can't break the Constitution. I mean, that to me is what today is about.
And I think this was just really well stated. This is the type of people that you want, in power, that are doing the right thing, following the law, respect for the Constitution. And, I know, easy to get down how Trump is ruining trust with allies and people all around the world, effectively. If you do pick the right leaders and have people in place that are just working to keep the system going in the way it's intended to be, we actually do have a lot of competent people in USA. The problem is, and I'll try to say it as nice as I can, there's certainly a population in USA that are uncomfortable with changes. They're uncomfortable with, I just don't like the way that guy looks. I don't like his hair or his glasses or whatever. And people say the same thing about me. I just don't like the way that Chris guy looks. I could never listen to someone who looks like Chris. And it's frustrating, right? And that population is small in the USA, but they're vocal and loud and angry and however you want to say it. And they love to go to Trump rallies. But I'll just say this: if you're willing to open your minds, your hearts, and just accept that there are other types of people in the world, you'll be surprised the amount of competence and this caring, empathy that exists in the USA. There's a lot of decent and good people there still. You just have to stand up and make sure that your voices are heard. I want to make sure that's clear. So I really appreciate the lawyer, again, who beat Trump at the Supreme Court, and you can see more about him. He was writing today in response to Trump's latest tariff, fiasco. Neil says, seems hard for the president to rely on the 15% statute, section 122, when his DOJ, in our case, told the court the opposite. Quote, nor does 122 have any obvious application here, where the concerns the president identified in declaring emergency arise from trade deficits, which are conceptually distinct from balance of payment deficits, okay? If he wants sweeping tariffs, he should do the American thing and go to Congress. If his tariffs are such a good idea, he should have no problem persuading Congress. That's what our Constitution requires, right? And these kind of discussions and arguments in just an honest way and a logical way and like an intelligent way is what we need more of in the USA. And I agree. And this would be the same thing. If everything that Trump does is so awesome and so great, then take it to Congress, right? And if it is so awesome, so great, prove it to us and get everyone on board. Okay, great, it's great. But it's, obviously Trump wants to do things as quickly as he possibly can because they know that they're going to lose the midterms now. Don't necessarily take that as a foregone conclusion. Still show up, make your voice heard, those kind of things. And when you look over in Trumpy land, right, because they are not an inclusive administration, they only want to look at a small group of people to work with them. They just have constant chaos because basically only incompetent and greedy individuals want to be part of the Trump administration. And then now they're having problems over there at their DOJ, firing another attorney, etc. And Blanche is saying, here we go again. Great. This is also a chart one you should take a look at. Again, follow the money. Here are the countries and products subject to the tariffs now. And you have invalidated emergency tariffs. So that's actually the orange box there. It makes up a fairly large chunk. And Trump's going to try to put on yet more tariffs. Basically, he wants to tax you all yet more. This is the various countries that are affected by said tariffs. But remember, you pay the tariffs. This is just where the goods come from. It's all over the place. Like he's just ruining relationships everywhere. And one of the things I thought was interesting way to think about it is each time you do this, and just you can see the chart for yourself, it's like, why would I want to trade with the USA or Trump when they're just completely unstable all the time when I can just go find other countries if they say that's what we're doing, that's what they're doing, right? And that's usually what a business deal is or a trade deal or whatever, right? You stick to your word. And it's no wonder why Trump has gone bankrupt so many times, as you guys already know. This was interesting also, and I just want to address this. This is what the Trump people will say. They'll say, but Chris, we're got to protect our elections, right? So Trump tweets out a few hours ago, only Americans should be voting in American elections. I only want Americans to vote in American elections, right? That's according to Trump. Then Elon Musk will tweet this kind of stuff nonstop. Here's a response. Only American presidents should be elected to serve Americans. No, not foreign nations' interests, right? That's a good response by Lucy. And regarding the voter fraud thing in USA, I'll just say this for MAGA people watching, please Google it. Please do. You know, is voter fraud a problem in USA? You'll find several articles very, very quickly. It's just a non-existent problem. I'll repeat, it's a non-existent problem. Basically, the Trump people are just gaslighting you and say, oh, guys, we got to focus on these non-existent problems while we spend 500 billion more on the military, right? And that's why your life doesn't get better. It's not because of this non-existent problem. And you can see the different cases here. It's like, what is this? Talking about Arizona, number of reported fraud cases, 36. It's like very, very minute. And that's out of ballots of like, what, 42 million. And this is like less than 1%, less than 0.000, right? Yeah, whatever percent. I mean, it's such a minuscule number. And I'm just throwing this up on screen. Pennsylvania was like 100 million ballots, and you had 39 problems. It's such a small problem, right? It's a non-existent problem. So that's why then Fox News, to communicate to people that are Trump followers, they just tweet out videos of giraffes and ostriches because that's what they understand. And I know I'm being mean here, but I'm just telling you the truth. This is what it is, and it's hard to communicate this kind of audience, and so you just have to address it outright. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.